Hey everyone, well silly me, I forgot to press the record on my audio recorder when I set off out on the ride, so this is going to be a voiceover. This is going to be a bit of a long video, so just bear with it. I hope you find it interesting. So I had a bit of an idea. I'd like you to pop a comment down below to see what you think of the idea. The idea was that perhaps once a month what I do is fill up the bike and just explore the southwest a bit, and some of them may be a camper overnight, some of them would be just a day trip. Tell me what you think, just leave a comment down below. So let's get on with it. Never been used. All my plans, huh? Okay, legs out. Goes in there like that. And twist. Enough. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Huh. Hey everyone. Well, I'd say it's been a minute since I last did a video, but I'd say more likely to be an hour. It's been a while. It's been a long time. A lot of things have happened, and some things didn't go quite to plan, and some things did. Needless to say, all my plans for what I was going to do this year, in the way of videos, just went to shit. But that aside, what happened? Wow. Well, this is kind of going to be story time with Nikki, and maybe a lesson for everyone that sometimes the simplest solutions, well, simplest answers to problems are actually the right answers. Well, I sit here and wait for my water to boil for a cuppa. So what happened? Well, I did the move. I'm now living in Bridgetown, but the day after I moved down here, my motorbike decided to have a little problem. A little problem which ended up taking 6 months to sort out. Partly because I was waiting for parts, and partly because I was overthinking the issue. Here's a lesson to be learnt. Sometimes don't overthink things. So what happened? Well, excuse me while I eat and talk. What was the problem with my motorcycle? Well, as soon as I put the power down, she kind of tried to stall all the time. every single time. So originally we thought maybe there was a fuel blockage. Wasn't the case. There was no fuel blockage. Then I was inspecting some of the hoses, particularly the one that's to do with the vacuum for the petcock, which had little cracks around the either end of the hose. So ordered that as a replacement, and it took 2 months for that to come because it had to come from overseas. So we got that on, still didn't fix the problem. No. Okay, next thing, maybe it was an electrical fault. With the help of my sister, we were thinking maybe it was the ignition coils or the ignition coil leads. We, in the process of actually testing the leads, I got a shock off one. Just randomly got a shock. Inspecting it, it seemed like there was maybe an issue, and there was a leak, and it was, well, shocking me. So ordered the replacement of complete set of ignition coil leads. 2 months later, yes, another 2 months, and finally got them. Took me a little bit longer to get them actually fitted because I was busy at the time. Winter, we had firewood we had to deal with, and I was spending a lot of time dealing with firewood. So we did that. And then still didn't fix the problem. So I thought, maybe there's a problem with the carb, maybe there's a blockage in one of the pilot jet or the main jet. So took the carb off. That was a learning experience. And I cleaned every inch of that carb. Took it apart, cleaned it. And this is where it gets interesting. I was putting the carb back together. I was doing the final stages, and I was putting the choke cable back on to the carb before I put the carb back in. And I noticed at the other end where the knob is for the choke cable, there's a plastic thread that holds a nut in place for the choke holder. And I noticed the thread was actually broken. Now, what you may not know about these particular choke cables, on the other end where the knob is, there's another nut that you can tighten and loosen in order to allow the choke to, well, depending on how tight it is, or depending on how easily the choke cable comes in and out as you turn it on and off. If you have it too loose, the choke cable is pretty much free to just go in and out as it pleases. There's the key. With that broken thread, the lock nut, let's just call it a lock nut, I don't know what it's actually called, wasn't working properly. You couldn't tighten it to actually tighten and get the right tension on the choke cable. So what would happen is that, particularly down here with the bumpy roads and when you're using the choke would come in, just freely move, in and out, on and off. So what's happening was that the choke was engaging when the engine was warm. And as such, it was losing power. Like I said, the simplest answers to the problem is perhaps the right answer. It was suggested early on to check the choke cable. Well, to check the choke, make sure it wasn't on. I could count on one hand the number of times I've had to use the choke on this bike in winter in Perth. Down here, during winter, pretty much every day you have to use the choke because it is cold. But it was summer at the time anyway. To fix the problem, I've still got to get a new choke cable for it. To fix the problem was I just got some glue, which was ABS for ABS plastics, and I glued the thread back together. At the moment it's just a temporary fix until I get the replacement cable. I wasn't going to wait another 2 odd months, so that would be about 8 months, for a replacement choke cable. And that is why I have been very absent, because unfortunately my motorcycle riding does actually have an impact on my mental health. So what about all the other jobs I had planned to do? So what about the scooter that I was going to fix? Well, that was another interesting story that I was doing at the same time. I questioned myself whether I had diagnosed that scooter right, which led me down to trying it. But because the scooter had been sitting for so long, I needed to clean the car because the jets had got blocked. Funny thing. And the tyres were cracked, so I needed to replace them. So I got that all done, got it back together, replaced the battery, and there was a weak spark, so I had to get a new ignition coil. That was done, and then the charging problem still occurred. Yes, I know I was going to record all this, but I didn't. At the time I was busy and didn't have the mental space to do the recording. So we did that, and the charging problem reoccurred, so I went to replace the stator like was originally the intention. The stator I had got to do the job was for another year of that scooter. It didn't fit, so I had to order another stator. Put the stator in, great, actually all worked. It was the problem, my original diagnosis was correct, but about 3 weeks after that, I noticed the front brake was not gripping as well as it should. After some inspection, I noticed the front suspension was leaking the fork oil onto the brakes. So that got laid up. Closer inspection of the forks, there's some corrosion, and with the bumpy roads, it seems like it's blown the fork seal. So I have finally got all the parts for that, and I have now yet to do that job, but that'll be next. So now what? Well, one lesson is think of the simplest solutions and look at that first. Stop looking for the complicated answers. Lesson learned on that one. Needless to say, my bike is now actually working okay, and I will show you the lock nut. That was the problem in the first place. That there is the lock nut. You tighten that and loosen it. Behind there is the nut that goes into this holder, and the thread for that nut there is what the problem was. What else? Well, another lesson is, how can I put this? As I said before in the last video, best laid plans go to shit. Well, yep, that happened again. I think the lesson is, don't make plans too seriously, have them sort of loosely in place. I think moving forward from here, I will start making videos again. It's probably just not going to be as often. I will start picking up on the film and photography and yeah, let's just call it music channel. I will pick up on that again. This one will maintain what I was planning to do with it being about motorcycles and camping and just getting out there and doing it. I think the lesson coming down here has been take one step at a time. I think that's going to be my new motto, actually. Just one step at a time. So I will start posting videos again. They won't be terribly regular. I want to do at least one a month. And I'm sorry, but that's going to be what it is. I have quite a busy life down here. So just trying to fit that in as well. I will show you this river too, which you can't see at the moment, but yeah. But yeah, I think the lesson learned is just to take it easy and just do one step at a time, no matter how hard it is, no matter what shit is going on. All you can do is just take one step at a time. That's probably the best lesson to be learnt. And sometimes the simplest answers are probably the correct answers when it comes to problems.